Hey everybody, today is Backyard Garden episode 4, all about tomatoes. I got some great tips, I got some great tricks to let you have your best tomato season yet. Alright, if you're growing in containers or like me, you're growing in a raised bed, or even if you have an in-ground backyard garden. I have all kinds of good little stuff that I learned as I did all my research, so we're hoping, fingers crossed, this year we're going to have the best tomato season ever. I've already had many challenges that I'll talk to you about just in the last 2 weeks. I'll tell you what, Colorado weather, you don't like it? Wait a minute. It's crazy. They really have put a whooping on my tomatoes, but they're bouncing back. And I have to take the knowledge I learned as credit for it. So, without further ado, let's talk tomatoes. So here's my 4x4, or at least the corner of it, right next to a pollinator, I might add. I'm going to dig a big old hole. Now I bought 2 tomato plants, like they were probably the first tomato plants sold in the county. Anyway, they were tiny, and they just grew so much in the window of my office that I had to stick them in the ground. It may not have been ready for them yet, but I bought 2 little greenhouses as well to cover them, to protect them from any cold evenings, and also to harden them off. Unless they come from an outdoor purchase, you never want to harden them off by sticking them in the ground right away. That's why I bought the greenhouses. So let's prepare the hole that I dug very deep. You want to get 3 kinds of fertilizer. You want potassium, calcium, and phosphate. Well, rock phosphate, it's super important. It's great for the roots. It's slow release, but it was sold out. So I only have the 2 right now. And don't you know, the day after I planted this plant in the ground, my rock phosphate came. So I dug little holes on either side of it and poured some down there for the roots to hit. Anywho, so there's 2 types of plants, determinate and determinate. Determinate means it's only going to grow so many tomatoes, and those come in varieties like Romas. Indeterminate means it'll keep growing until the fall comes and kills it. Now, I've already mixed this fertilizer in this hole, and I'm going to put the plant in. You notice that I dug it pretty deep. I stripped off the bottom leaves. If you ever look at the stalk of a tomato plant, you're going to see little hairs. Those little hairs, when you bury it deep like this, turn into roots and give you a really strong and stable plant. Now, I only buy indeterminate tomatoes because I want to have as many as I can get. I'm greedy, what can I say? So I am going to teach you how to prune these, and we're going to grow them up straight into like a corn stalk, just straight up, and we'll constantly be getting new tomatoes on it. It's going to be a thing of beauty. I'm going to do updates throughout, and you'll see what I mean. I'm going to teach you how to prune here in a minute too, but once you get it in the ground, give it a good soak. And when you water tomatoes, it's super important you water them as close to the base as you possibly can. Don't spray them all over the leaves and all that stuff. I know people want to argue, what about rain? Well, I'm not talking about rain. It's important, trust me. So here's the greenhouse that I bought. It fits like a glove. Unfortunately, it's a little large, so I could only put 1 of the 2 tomatoes in it. Look at that sad sack next to it. That thing was huge. And you can see it's all wilted. Don't be alarmed. When you first plant a tomato, it's going to wilt. It'll come back. Trust that. Have a little faith in it. Let's talk some companion planting. Remember how oh, look at that. There's my basil. And that little one in the left-hand corner I grew from seed. That's cherry tomato. So basil and tomatoes are BFFs. So you want to plant a bunch of basil all around it. It helps prevent aphids, little bugs that want to tear your plants up. And then this is 2 weeks later, by the way. Look at this sad sack. It looked like it had blight, so I kept tearing off the leaves until I got to the top. And don't you know it's coming back like a champ? It is. It's crazy. So anyway, there's the one I grew from seed. Now I'm going to show you about these little suckers. Those are the little branches that grow from the stalk and the end of a leaf. Those are no good. They don't produce fruit, and they take up too much of the plant's energy. So you want the energy going into making tomatoes, not branches. That's why it's super important. And this wee little tiny guy here, look at all of them on him. There's two, one at the base, and there's another one right there. And I bet if I look real hard, yep, there's another one. Tear those suckers off, and you're going to be doing this the whole growing season. There's some of my basil and onions, another good companion plant. These smells, and chives, these smells help keep away. Ooh, purple basil. They help keep it all away. So this leaf looks like, well, it looks like crap. So I'm going to take it off. Eventually, as these tomato plants grow, we're going to start removing a lot of the lower leaves for ventilation so you don't get rot. You just want a good airflow going through there. And since I have 5 of them growing in a small space, which is perfectly fine. And look at there, baby tomatoes. Look at those little guys. Keep it coming. Here's more blooms. Those will be tomatoes in no time. So you want ventilation. Anyway, all of these bamboo sticks are going to be for support. Some of them they'll be tying the plant directly to. Others I'll be tying strings in between them and weaving the plants through them for support. Catch the next tomato update video coming soon.